Suid-Afrika vier hierdie jaar die 50ste gedenkjaar sedert professor Chris Barnard die eerste hart oorgeplant het. Briljante chirurge bou voort op die baanbrekerswerk. Daar duisende mense se lewens kan gered word, maar sonder skenkers is dit net nie moontlik nie. In hierdie episode gaan ons kyk waar ons 'n verskil kan maak.
Die grootste gedagte wat mens het is van dankbaarheid teenoor 'n familie wat in 'n tyd van smart ook aan iemand anders dink. Ons glo ook dat dit vir mense 'n mate van vertroosting bring as daar iets goed kom uit die verlies van iemand wat naby aan hulle is.
Dus eintlik moet jy die kind voorberei door te sê, jy kry 'n nuwe hart, maar nie net met die hart kom 'n stuk vleis nie. Daar kom ook 'n persoonlikheid wat jy graag saam mee wil leef. Soos 'n boetie of 'n sussie. As jy nou 'n nuwe sussie kry, is dit nou nie fantasties om saam met haar iets te doen. Nou so moet die skenker dus eintlik, nee, die ontvanger moet dus ook voorberei word dat hy nou 'n nuwe partner kry waarmee jy gelukkig wil wees. En hy wil ook daai partner gelukkig maak. En dan is er alleen 'n goeie symbiotiese verhouding. En dan is die verwerping minder. En dan gaat het langer aan en veel mooier.
Waarom is daar so tekort aan skenkers? My soektog na 'n antwoord lei my na 'n bekende kunstenaar, Lise Creer. Sy het haar enigste seun verloor. Haar storie beantwoord baie vrae. Ek het 'n interessante gesprek met Dr. Wopke van Horen gehad. Hy glo dat die skenker en die ontvanger in 'n vennootskap tree met mekaar. Hoe dink jy sou François gevoel het om in 'n vennootskap te wees met
Ek dink hy sou heel hartig dit wou doen. François se essence was baie generous. Hy het 'n groot hart gehad om mee te begin en altyd vir die ander dalk gegaan. So daardie tipe dis 'n vennootskap wat hy definitief sou wou deurvoer.
Lisa, jy kom uit 'n formidable familie. Jy is direkte afstammeling van Paul Creer, né? Ja. Vertel my van jou eie kinders. Jy het 3 kinders, né?
Dis reg, ja.
Jy vertel vir my, wie is die oudste?
My dogter Ronel is ek en Ronel verskil 20 jaar.
Ja.
Maar ek het 'n baie nou verhouding met al 3 my kinders. Ja. En Ronel is 8 jaar ouer as François. Ja. En die twee het 'n ongelooflike verhouding gehad ten spyte van die groot ouderdomsgaping. Hulle het 'n vermoë gehad om daardie gaping so klein te maak. En François was die middelste seun en weer baie nou verhouding met sy klein sussie, Elizabeth. François was so half ek dink die gom wat almal half aan mekaar gehou het. So sy verlies het 'n geweldige effek op hulle ook gehad. En dink een ding wat ek baie onder die indruk van is hoe elkeen se rouproses totaal uniek is.
Jy het gesê jy sou graag François se organe wou skenk.
Weet jy, dit was 'n gesprek wat ons altyd as 'n gesin gehad het. En die aand wat dit gebeur het, want ons het met hom hospitaal toe gery. En dit was die laaste ding wat in daardie oomblik van trauma, jy weet, in my gedagtes was. En ek het al die jare nog ervaar ek 'n vreeslike verlies dat iemand wat die aand daar was en in beheer was, nie die teenwoordigheid van gees gehad het om my te kom vra, sou ek hom op masjiene wou sit om sy organe aan die gang te hou nie. Want ek behoort aan 'n hele paar ondersteuningsgroepe in Engeland. En jy weet, so ek het gereeld te doen met ouers wat jy kan sien hoeveel vertroosting dit vir hulle bring as hulle die ander partye ontmoet. En jy weet, daar's 'n orgaan, daar's iets van my kind wat voortleef en 'n lewe gered het, 'n lewe of 7 of meer. Dit is vir my altyd 'n nog 'n ervaring van verlies wees dat dit nie gebeur het nie.
Dit was vir my belangrik om te hoor wat Susan te sê het.
Daar is definitief 'n tekort aan skenkers. Daar's baie redes daarvoor. Een van die groot redes is die miskien dat die bewustheid nie voldoende is nie. Met ander woorde, die nood of die benodigdheid van organe is nie bekend genoeg, beide by die publiek en by mediese personeel nie. 'n ander faktor is die feit dat die hospitale onder baie druk werk. En as iemand kom wat breindood is dit soms makliker om net al die ondersteuning af te skakel as om die moeite te doen om die organe in 'n goeie toestand te hou sodat dit vir oorplantings gebruik kan word.
Vir elke terugslag is daar altyd 'n viering. Suid-Afrika staan nie net aan die voorpunt van die mediese wetenskap wat hartoorplantings betref nie. Ek ontdek ander suksesstories wat hierdie reeks na ander hoogtepunte neem. Ek is nou op pad Durban toe om hierdie stories met julle te deel. Ons ontmoet ook die chirurg wat hierdie wondere verrig.
I was born with a lot of things wrong with me. But I was only diagnosed at 6 months old. So I was born with 3 holes, a missing tricuspid valve, narrowed arteries between the heart and lungs, an irregular heartbeat, and a heartbeat faster than normal.
At what age did you become aware of the problem?
I think I was always aware of it, but I think Mum was in denial for a long time. I mean, she said to me that people often used to ask how I was, and Mum used to say, she's fine, nothing wrong with her, she's fine. But yeah, I was always aware that if I was running, I would get tired quicker than everyone else, and if I was tired and I was gasping, out of breath at least, I'd have to stop. So, I mean, I knew that from as young as 4 or 5 years old.
As a teenager, you were a very, very sick girl.
I deteriorated quite badly in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, in my early sort of teenage years, you know, I was all right. I was coping, I was managing, I was going to school, I was in high school, I was managing. But by the time I hit standard 8, which I think is now grade 10, I think I was 16, I was really starting to battle. You know, I was at a big government high school and you had to go up and down stairs for every class. I was battling. So by the end of that year, we'd taken the decision that I would be homeschooled for my final 2 years at school.
Yeah, being a young mother, I was absolutely devastated. And the doctors turned around and said to me, well, you know, the best thing you can do is have another child. Oh, really? And of course, you know, I was terrified in case the other child came out with no arms or legs, or, you know, you think to yourself, well, I've already had one child that's got a problem. What's going to happen to the next one? So, yeah, that was really the decision why I didn't go ahead and have another child. But, you know, over the years, because Tina is such a positive person and quite a flamboyant, gregarious sort of person, as tough as it was, and I mean, there were days when we would just lie on her bed and just look at one another and just cry because we knew what rocky road we were going down, and there's actually nothing you can actually say. You just gaze into one another's eyes and you know you love one another and you know you're there for one another. But yeah, you know, when Tina was really ill, she was just so positive. I mean, as weak as she was, I mean, she always had a smile, she'd always laugh. And, you know, because of that, it made my journey easier. I mean, it never was easy, but I think, you know, because you're in that mode right from being a young mother, you're in that mode, you just cope because you have to cope. And then, you know, I got divorced, and then being a single mother and trying to sort of earn a living and provide, and then going through the health problems, and we went down to the Cape Town Children's Hospital We used to do annual trips up to Johannesburg to go and see a Professor Levine for checkups and what have you. And it was quite interesting because her condition at that stage was obviously quite rare to the doctors. So, I mean, all the young trainee doctors, interns and what have you would all come around, and there would be like 10 doctors around her bed, and they'd all have to listen to her, so each one could actually listen to what was going on. Yeah, it was quite exhausting, but yeah, it's been a very difficult journey in a way. Yeah. I think she was 1996. She was in her 15th year. She actually collapsed. I just got back from Port Elizabeth, and I was lying on my bed at home chatting to her, and she was all bubbly because she had just spent the holidays with her father down in Cape Town, and she was telling me about all these lovely people she had met. And she took a breath like this to carry on with her story, and she just fell over backwards. She just actually fell over backwards. And initially, you know, because she's such a funny person, I actually thought to myself, well, she's playing the fool. And then it hits you, know, something's gone wrong. We bundled her into the car, and I could hear her gasping in the back of the car. She was obviously not breathing, and her eyes were rolling back like this. And fortunately, the medical centre where her GP wasn't very far away. So got out there, and I screamed at them to come in and help me take her out the car, and we put her into the resuscitation room. And I was standing, it was a long, narrow room, and I was standing at her head, fortunately. And the doctor came through, and he listened to her, and he just looked at me and he said, no, it's too late, she's gone. Oh. Well, even now when I tell that story, my heart just falls to my feet. Right. And I just looked at him, and I was standing at her head, and there was like an energy current that went between Tina and I just said to him, no. And I started CPR on her. Now, I know nothing about CPR, only what I've seen on 911. So I started CPR on her, and what with that, it galvanized the doctor into action, and he called another doctor, and they resuscitated her. And now she's around and breathing, but she's totally disorientated, and she's sort of like would suddenly sit up in bed and flay her arms and legs, and then she'd collapse down again. So now, and it was very real to me, I went through that thing, well, now have I actually got her to survive just to actually live with brain damage? And that nearly finished me. And Dave Gilmer was lovely, and he actually just sat on the end of her bed, and he watched her, and he must have been with her about an hour, just sitting with her, analysing her and seeing what was going on. And he came out and said to me, no, she's going to be fine, you mustn't worry.
Often thought about death, but mostly I tried to ignore it. I just tried to live while I was alive. And I thought if I'm going to die anytime soon, I'm going to live my absolute best and have as much fun as I can on this earth. I spent time with my friends. I'm addicted to dancing, so I used to go out dancing quite often.
That wasn't very good for the heart and the lungs.
No, it probably wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I eventually got to the stage where I couldn't even dance like half a song. But, you know, I think I perfected dancing in a chair quite well.
So you really had a zest for life.
Definitely.
This was your main thing. This is amazing, because you wanted to live.
I didn't want to die. I didn't believe that it was my time to go. I didn't believe I'd accomplished everything that I was put on earth to do. But at the same time, everyone dies at some point. It's, you know, that's the fact of life. You are born and you live and then you die. And I decided that if I was going to die tomorrow, I was going to make today count. Often my prayer was about, God, if I go, when I go, please look after my mom and my dad and my friends.
Okay.
But yeah, she went into heart failure, and then it was just a question of sitting and waiting. And, you know, for the Organ Donor Foundation to put her on the organ donor list, you've got to be nearly dead.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so just watching her get to that stage of being so weak, she couldn't do anything. Her lips were absolutely purple. Her face was very flushed. Her fingers and her feet were swelling. Retention of water. Just not a nice thing to go through. And then the one day, she actually walked into Dave Gilmer's office. And she said to him, "Doc, when are you going to put me on the transplant list?" So he said, "My girl, you know, when your quality of life is bad enough." So she said to me, "Well, I'm just sitting in my room all day long on oxygen and I need to go on the transplant list." And he actually put her on the transplant list.
Once the pacemaker wasn't working, then I really became a candidate for a heart and lung transplant. But yeah, I had never really heard of anyone having a heart and lung transplant and how successful they were and all of that kind of thing.
Dr. Robert Kleinloo gee vir Tina teen alle verwagtinge 'n tweede lewe. Sy bekwaamheid maak hom 'n internasionale speler wat chirurgie betref.
Dit is tegnies 'n moeilike operasie en is 'n baie moeilike operasie om bymekaar te sit. Omdat die organe nie net aanpasbaar moet wees nie, maar hulle moet albei pas. Jy het longe wat moet pas in die borsholte en jy het 'n hart wat moet pas in die perikardiale holte. So is 'n baie moeilike ding om tegnies bymekaar te sit. Dit is tegnies 'n moeilike operasie en is baie moeilike operasie om na te kyk na die tyd.
Dokter, is dit baie moeilik om organe te kry?
Jy weet, hier in Natal vergeet almal van ons. So ons sukkel maar om organe te kry vir ons harte en vir ons longoorplantings. En vir hartlongoorplantings is dit nog moeiliker. Maar jy weet, vir elke ontvanger is daar 'n skenker. So ons kry hulle. Ons het nou al 6 gedoen. En ons het dan 2 van hulle wat baie lank oorleef het. Ander het nie so lank oorleef soos wat ons graag sou wou hê nie. Maar dis maar soos wat dit gaan. Tina dink ek is nou 5 jaar uit van haar operasie. Maar touchwood, Tina het nog geen komplikasies gehad nie.
Apparently there has been only 6 of these kind of operations that took place in South Africa, and you are the longest surviving patient. So at the moment you're the only patient that is alive of all the other 6 that's been done.
It's a miracle.
It brings tears to me, you know that?
Yeah, it's emotional.
Yeah.
But I must confess, after sort of 6 months after the surgery, when you realised, okay, everything's going to look as though it's going to be fine, the relief that I felt, suddenly not having to wake up in the morning and go upstairs to her bedroom and open the door and think, well, is she going to be alive this morning? Because that's how it was every morning. I used to go and take her a cup of tea before I left for work. And, you know, you walk in there and you just think, well, what am I going to find this morning? And then later on to be able to go and sit and have a cup of tea with her and chat and know that she's okay. I mean, it was just exhilaration to actually leave the house and know that when I got home she would be fine.
I will never be 100%. I have someone else's heart and lungs. So it's a different DNA. So because it's a different DNA, my body will always reject it or try and attack it. So I've got to be very careful of germs and infections, colds, flu, that kind of thing. But health-wise, I'm perfect.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But apparently they managed to save one of the valves from Tina's heart, and that was sent to Johannesburg to transplant into a little baby up there. So not only is Tina a donor, but she's also a recipient, it's fantastic. I mean, that meant so much to her, that her useless heart as it was still was good for something, that another little child managed to survive because of one of her valves. I mean, I think that's incredible.
Ja, maar ons het, soos ek sê, ons het al in 1997 begin. Ons was die eerste eenheid wat longe oorgeplant het. En verlang het ons alleen longe oorgeplant. En toe Johannesburg begin longe oorplant. Maar omdat Johannesburg, die meeste mense word skenkers in Johannesburg, en dit maak sin om jou skenker so naby as moontlik aan jou ontvanger te hê. So jy weet so ons kry nie genoeg skenkers nie. Ons waglys is oor die 55 pasiënte.
Vir harte en longe.
Vir harte, longe en hartlonge.
Maar vir hoeveel mense soek jy harte en longe gelyktydig voor?
Nee, daar's miskien, ek dink miskien 5 of 6 wat op die waglys is.
Ja, Matthew het nou baie dringende hart en longe nodig.
Matthew het iets so 7 vorige operasies al reeds gehad, so hy het nou nog net een opsie oor. En dit is om 'n hart-long-oorplanting te kry.
Deur Dr. Kleinloog ontmoet ek Janet Legemaat en haar seun Matthew. Hulle dapperheid, moed en geloof raak my diep. Met geestelike krag wag hulle dag vir dag vir 'n oproep om hulle te laat weet dat daar nie net 'n hart beskikbaar is nie, maar ook longe.
I believe God's got a plan for Matthew's life. That's what I believe. Wholeheartedly, I believe that from the very beginning. He's had an incredible life. He has, I always get emotional, he has impacted on so many people's lives positively that I have to look at that and say, God's plan is working out. You know, at times we've thought he wouldn't make an operation and the doctors have thought he wouldn't make an operation, and things have generally gone wrong every time he's been operated on. But he has, he's pulled through and it's been incredible. It really has been incredible. If I look at it from that perspective, I think we know that God's got a plan. He's got a plan for our lives, and I know that we've given him the best that we can possibly do. And he's enjoyed his life so far. All we want is for him to continue enjoying it. And we'd love him to be able to reach his dreams and his goals and do the things he would like to do.
Matthew het geleer om saam te leef met die gebrek aan suurstof. Dit affekteer sy energievlakke en asemhaling.
Hopefully one day I'll also like to compete in the World Transplant Games.
Okay, yeah.
Which is held every 3 years. Yes. And next one's going to be held in Spain, which I would have liked to have gone, but unfortunately, because I haven't had my transplant yet, so I won't be able to, but hopefully the next one.
Oh, by that time you'll have the heart and the lungs.
I would be. I was very inspired by it because they had it in 2013 here in Durban. And I went to the games and watched them athletes compete, and I met athletes from around the world, Canada, America, Germany, France, and to hear their stories and to how they have overcome their challenges and to use their second chance of life is amazing to see, and it gives me hope that hopefully one day I'll be able to do that.
Ek is volgende week weer terug met stories oor dapper mense en wonderwerke. As jy miskien daaroor dink om 'n skenker te wees, kontak ook 'n Donor Foundation by 0800 226611.
Everyone deserves the opportunity that the doctors and the nurses gave Tina. Everyone deserves that opportunity. I mean, we all have a right to live, and if we have a problem, medical problem that is overcome by medicine or surgery, I think we all need that opportunity. We deserve that opportunity. And I mean, Robbie and Dave Gilmer and the team has just been absolutely marvellous. I mean, if it wasn't for them, Tina wouldn't be alive today.